right, ready to go. Hey, appreciate you coming to sales meeting today. We didn't have one last week. Most of the team was down in Vegas for Medicarians. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we learned there, some takeaways, bringing it to you guys. And then next week, a lot of the team will be in Maui for the rewards trip. So we're not going to have sales meeting next week. So thoughts, right? I've been thinking a lot about AI and the future of work in general. Depending on who you talk to, some people think that in the next 5 to 10 years, up to 50% of the workforce will be replaced by AI, right? And I see this weird dystopian future. I like watching sci-fi, and one of the sci-fi movies I think that kind of is going to be fairly accurate is Ready Player One, if you guys ever have watched that show. And this is, I don't even remember this guy's Percival. I can't remember what his actual name is. But he lives here in the stacks, right? And I think that humanity's headed for this bifurcation of working class that actually provides some sort of value and like a non-working class. And we'll have some sort of universal basic income, and half the people, half the population will not really provide any excess value to the marketplace, and a lot of jobs and a lot of industries are going to be replaced and disrupted by AI, right? And I don't say that to like freak everybody out, or but it's something I'm always thinking about is I want to be somebody who's going to continue to add value to the marketplace, to the ecosystem, and not be replaced by a little automatron R2D2 machine or an AI. And down at Medicarians this last week, I would say about half the vendors were some sort of fintech or some sort of enrollment type platform where everybody's trying to have some sort of AI tool, right? Where it can better help agents perform enrollments. But really, a lot of these fintech companies want to replace agents, right? And it's not just insurance agents. It's many, many different jobs. Everything from, the barista at Starbucks to graphic designers to whatever. AI is in any industry is really coming to disrupt a lot of industries. Now, I know that with every technological evolution that we've ever seen in the world, be it, the cotton gin or whatever, there's all sorts of, or the printing press for newspapers. Everybody thought that it was going to be the end of jobs or automation or whatever, and then things kind of shift. And that's probably, I'm probably being a little bit pessimistic when I say 50% over the next 5 to 10 years. But either way, I want to err on the side of being able to future-proof myself, right? And so here's a couple things that I came up with. How do you upskill in an AI complementary field, right? As I talk to a lot of these vendors and people all the time on LinkedIn, I'm always imploring them, hey, why don't you guys come up with tools that make agents more effective, more efficient? And even as it is right now, guys, you probably know, or maybe you don't know, but we're using a lot of AI already, right? We were very early on, even in the initial days of Go High Level 5 or 6 years ago when we were using it. I had put some if this then that type of AI stuff that was always responding. Right now we're starting to QC a lot of calls with AI. And so from a certain standpoint, it's extremely useful because a tool like that can go listen to calls and at scale and kind of listen for keywords and score those kind of calls without having to have somebody, literally listen to those calls. It's basically impossible if you add up phone calls and interactions and all the different applications that we're processing as an organization. It would take a lot of human bandwidth to do that, right? So there are certain aspects where it's going to make our lives better and easier, and that's what I've been telling all of these partners we work with. I'm like, give us better tools for agents to be more effective, more efficient, more compliant, not always focus on trying to replace a human, right? A couple other things we can do is, cultivate uniquely human skills. I think about this. I've been thinking about tech and stuff mostly from a perspective of movies. One of the movies I love is The Matrix, right? And they talk in The Matrix where basically the robots enslaved humanity, and they had built this like perfect utopian AI program, and the humans rejected it. And the reason why the humans rejected it is because we as human beings need struggle, we need turmoil, we need something to overcome and accomplish. And so I think that there's an aspect of that that humans will always want, right? I tend to believe that humans will always prefer to want to interact with other human beings, even if there's some error, right? If it's imperfect, we're going to prefer that type of interaction. And so when I think of this, like, what are unique human skills? Things like empathy, right? Focus on your soft skills, EQ. So what are some of the things that we can do as humans that get us, have us do a really good job? We did a podcast with Todd Moffat. A lot of you guys know Todd, and he is like what I would call an empathetic seller. He very much cares about people. He relates to them with his emotion, right? Because he actually cares about these people as a human being, and it's not just some act, right? So focus on developing soft skills, right? Things that tech aren't going to be able to do. Embrace lifelong learning. We can all, like anything, guys, we can stick our heads in the sand and we can let tech and the industries pass us by, or we can continue to stay up to date with some of the changes. Are any of you guys using any like of the super easy AI tools like Grok or ChatGPT to like find answers for clients on the phone or anything like that? Or have you guys ever been doing that? Yeah. I probably use those AI tools, every day, probably more so than even Google right now. So I'd encourage you, if you're not using some of those just for simple things to help give you context or understanding, if you're asked a question in a sales encounter that you don't know, you could probably get a pretty good response through one of these AI tools with some deep context, some reference sources. It's super valuable, right? I always talk about when I got in the industry, if I ever had a question, I had to try to find the one or two human beings in the whole state of Utah that knew the answer to those questions. We live in a time where information is prolific. We can be continuing to upskill and learn pretty much anything we want at our fingertips. Pivot to non-automatable positions, right? For right now, what are some of these non-automatable positions, right? Well, can an AI entity hold an insurance license? No. We still each have a licensed fiduciary duty, and for the time being, and what I think the industry is going to fight for and advocate a lot is say, we don't want AI or tech to be able to perform a full scale enrollment. However, that's probably not realistic, right? That's probably going to happen sooner rather than later, because a consumer can already go and enroll start to finish through some sort of website or whatever that's even less helpful, less sophisticated than an AI agent. But we are always going to need to be looked for where are the non-automatable positions, right? Like if you're a phone QC person listening to phone calls, I probably wouldn't be planning on building a whole career around that right now. But look for these little positions that can't be automatable. And for the time, humans prefer to work with other human beings, other agents, and keep doing a good job, right? We have to collectively do better as a unit, as humans, than these AI tools are going to be able to do. Because we all know that, at least for the time being, a lot of these tools are going to be programmed with some sort of bias, right? Or they're going to be trained on some sort of learning models that may or may not be beneficial to the consumers. And we as human beings, especially as we become experts, we're going to have insights and be able to have context that no AI tool is going to be able to have. I really, truly believe that. But we all have to continue to invest in our education and kind of knowing a broad landscape of what our consumers and what our clients are dealing with. Build a personal brand, right? Influencing is obviously huge right now in every industry. People who are doing a good job are generally building a professional avatar, and people relate to other humans, right? That's why, the rise of influencers and celebrities has always been so popular for all of human history. I really think it'll be weird if the future is like digital avatars and influencers where we're following like weird AI. I'm sure that's going to be part of it. But at least for me personally and a lot of other people, I think we're always going to prefer, real flesh and bones human beings as far as like sources of truth and authority. Master adaptability and resilience. Same thing, guys. We got to just, as we go through the next couple of years with AI and we start having, AI really becomes prevalent and things like that, we've got to continue to be adaptable and resilient. So looking for the soft areas where we can add value and we can perform better collectively than some of these tech stacks. And then also, not be too scared of technology, but be willing to, like we just talked about, leverage AI as a tool. I feel like it's, at least at this current iteration, it's making me more effective, more efficient, quicker, helping me do some things, when I get PowerPoints or presentations like this ready, when I want to learn something, when I want to draft up something. It's really shortcutting a lot of time. So look for areas where you can use these coming technology as a tool to make you all better, not as something that we need to be scared of, right? I always think of that analogy, like Mark Henry and the Machine, or was it Paul Bunyan? Which one was trying to chop down the trees? Paul Bunyan, okay. He was trying to beat the machine, right? All right. Well, we got to metaphorically keep being keep doing a good job there. And again, guys, that's not to, none of this is to like scare people or freak everybody out or think no one's going to have jobs in 5 or 10 years, but that's just something that I've been watching. And when we talk about kind of a quick Medicarians recap, that was a common theme of panels and the vendor floor was, just how in your face AI is right now. So trainings and updates, we'll breeze through this because a lot of them are going to be reminders. Effectuation, we're doing a better job. Already we saw about a 10% lift from AEP to Q1 of OEP, which was really good. We've been talking about it. Last year during annual enrollment, the whole industry saw 26% of consumers on Medicare Advantage plans change their plan. That was about more than twice any other year prior. So there was a lot of change, a lot of disruption for OEP or AEP of last year. So we're already doing a better job with the effectuation. But again, guys, just keep doing a good job. Quality enrollments, because I'm going to keep hammering this home. If we don't do a better job than some of these stupid AI tools and things like that, and we keep being lazy and shortcutting stuff, and we're going to be our own worst enemy collectively as an industry, okay? Effectuation, keep doing a good job. Remember, it's your responsibility, even if you're an LOA or you're on the employed, W-2 side of things, it's your job to make sure those policies go into effect. Nobody gets paid on anything unless it turns into a policy. And then, if it gets turned over to the retention team, they have their component on it too. You independent agents, keep doing a good job of, one, making it go into effect, and then surviving through that rapid disenroll period, those first full 3 calendar months. It's a very big emphasis of the entire industry right now. Reminder for pipelining and lead management this time of year, we're now in lock-in or rest of year, no matter what you want to call it. SEPs are a little bit tighter right now. It benefits all of us to be pipelining good sales, especially turning 65s, people aging into the industry. And I want to make sure you all are really good at managing your lead pipeline. Again, your pipeline should look like this: priority leads, pending or scheduled appointments in progress, follow-ups, and waiting for eligibility or AEP. Is everybody's pipeline looking like this, and have you all been doing a better job of working on your pipelines? Yes? Cool. I promise you, just like the cliche adages, the money's in the follow-up, right? Including here and especially here. Community Center, we've been putting a lot of trainings into this. Again, if you're having a slow day, if you want to learn a little bit more, I would really spend some time reading through some of the resources in the community center. If you are, let's say, you're a W-2 agent, you're on the LOA team, and you want to level up, you want to learn more, make sure you're watching some of these trainings. Make sure you're learning how to be a more diverse, dynamic agent, because we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. Does everybody have access to the community center? All you guys online, does everybody know how to access this tool? I think this is really cool. We're going to continue to really flesh this out and put a lot more trainings and helpful resources in here. I think between this and our Slack community, we really do have the most active, helpful ecosystem of agents out there in the market. You know, there's a lot of other things, Facebook groups, et cetera, that share surface level information, but I think, you know, we have a really good community with a lot of agents sharing helpful information. Reminder, the DST-SEP remains. Has anybody been able to use this so far in April? Yeah, cool. That was a nice thing. Just reminding everybody that that's still there. Got to delete that slide. Okay, on Friday at 3 o'clock, the final rule, the CMS call letter dropped that a lot of us have been waiting. If you're a nerd, if you're me or Dan, you've kind of been waiting on pins and needles for this to come out because you're always wondering what's next, right? What are the new rules and regs coming out? It was pretty vanilla. And I don't know if we're going to get another, I don't know how many final call letters we can get for the plan year. There may be something else, but it really didn't resolve any of these big pending issues, which is a catch-22, right? It means nothing got worse, nothing got harder, but it also means that a lot of the questions or clarifying issues that we have in the industry are not being resolved at this time. There were certain things that CMS just decided, hey, we're not going to pick that up. We're not going to continue to, we're not going to comment on that, or we're not going to enforce this. A lot of stuff related to the social determinants and a lot of the things that we're going to get added into the plans over the next couple of years. As far as health equity, they've kind of just said that's not on the table anymore. There were a couple other things clarifying with the M3P, the Medicare Prescription Payment Plan. They codified that, meaning that's going to stay as it is. There's still a lot of stuff to resolve with the prescription drug aspect of it and the Medicare Advantage funding for this upcoming plan year. But as of right now, it seemed like there was not a lot of clarification. So again, that's good and bad. It would have been nice if we had a little bit more certainty or clarification of some industry rules and regs, but it's also nice that we know that it's not getting more complicated or worse, or as of right now, it's kind of status quo. Again, guys, focusing on T65 agents, don't have a lot of time to get into this. I wanted to talk about Medicarians' takeaways, some of the things that were like high-level macro stuff. This show, it's turned into like the big industry event in Medicare and ACA. All the carriers fly in. There's probably 4,000 or 5,000 people in the industry there. We had a pretty big presence. We end up meeting with a lot of our high-level industry people. There was about 3,000 to 4,000 agents and agencies there as well. And these were my takeaways. A lot of ACA agents and agencies were there. A lot of these, and there were, I would say probably about half of them were Hispanic agents and agencies that had built pretty big books of business in the ACA space over the past 5 to 6 years. And as there's been a lot of changes on the ACA side, specifically, you know, no more putting people with ITINs on ACA right now, they're all looking for different opportunities, right? So a lot of these agents and agencies that have done a pretty good job on the ACA side, they're all looking because the industry is very much disrupted right now, even more so than the Medicare side of things. We're currently waiting. The rumor is that the SEP for 150% of the FPL, federal poverty level, is probably going away. And that's what a lot of people have been using on the ACA side of things over the past few years. So there's a lot of agents that are looking to diversify and expand out from just their ACA books of business. With shifting market conditions, like I said, it kind of prompted what I opened with, which was future-proofing yourself. There's a lot of tech and there's a lot of AI. So you combine that with some of the shifting difficulties in the industry right now, and it seems like there's a lot of people trying to figure out what the next 4 or 5 years look like for themselves as agents and agencies. And really, and this was kind of what I was alluding to earlier today, is I think that the future is going to be less agents in the ecosystem, but they're going to be more sophisticated, more dynamic. Agents are going to be able to do Medicare and ACA. They're going to understand both. And the other thing that I really saw is a big emerging trend right now are the selling of supplementary and ancillary plans. That's why we at Agent Boost have been pushing Allstate and Golden Rule and NCD and some of these ancillary carriers so hard lately is because we're seeing two things happen at once, right? We're seeing the funding of a lot of these Advantage plans and even the ACA plans paring down more to core benefits, dumping a lot of the dental, vision, hearing, grocery cards, blah, 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 all those kind of things. And that's going to continue into this upcoming plan year. And so it's actually creating opportunity for us as agents to place business with a lot of those ancillary plans. So we're going to keep hammering plan enhancers, dental, vision, hearing, because as benefits kind of continue to readjust back towards core benefits, it's going to provide more opportunities for us. So all sales teams, all channels, no matter what kind of agent you are, that's going to be a point of emphasis over the next year or two for sure. My other big takeaway was plan year 2026. So this next upcoming plan year, it's going to be rough like 2025 was. So, we're kind of going through an evolution right now as a country as we kind of shift our focus. This administration has definitely some different priorities and wants to fix some things, reshape some things. And as part of that, let's just say Medicare is not going to get, and Medicaid is not going to get quickly fixed to be more optimized, and plan funding is definitely not going to be fixed for this upcoming plan year. As we've been talking about for the past 2 years, we're in a big funding crunch nationally as a country with Medicare. And so we're seeing a little bit of this bloodletting and a little bit of this evolution in the industry right now. So I would expect 2026 to look a lot like this past year did, which again is just going to be opportunity for us. I'm very optimistic. We're going to be able to place a lot of business. We're going to be able to, we're going to be very needed. We're going to be able to place a lot of ancillary plans and programs as well. But I would expect to see more SARs, more service area reductions. I'd expect to see more tier 2 carriers, smaller market regional carriers finally tapping out and saying, we're not going to keep doing this. We're probably going to see more market disruption with carriers and things like, or with hospital plans and things like that. So again, all these reasons to pay attention, to stay up to date, with what's going on. If you want to be an expert in your field, we got a lot of changes coming up. I think we may see some more non-commissionable plans, but if I had to think about one of the big agent concerns down at Medicarians, talking to a few hundred agents in person nationally, that was probably agents' number one concern, is how many different plans are going non-commissionable. And here in Utah and Agent Boost, we've been able to navigate that pretty well. It's been annoying to see some plans go non-commissionable and suppressed. I hope CMS steps in. I think they will at some point and say, hey, look, if you file a plan and you say it's available, you make your bed, you got to lay in it. You've got to pay commissions. You can't suppress it because that contributes to steering, right? That's the number one thing that CMS doesn't want to have is people steering people away from particular plans. But I do think that that's still a little bit of what's going on in the industry. We're fortunate to have a lot of big, diverse national carriers where we can kind of pivot. But nationally, we saw a lot of areas where local agents, they had their flagship plans in a lot of their home local states with carriers with Aetna and Anthem go non-commissionable, and it was really impactful for a lot of agents nationwide. To kind of sum it up, guys, we as agents and FMOs, we're either going to be the part of the problem or we're going to be the solution. And we've talked a lot about it on the podcast. Agents are under a lot of scrutiny right now because there's a lot of finger pointing and there's a lot of blame going around when there's turmoil and there's funding issues. Everybody, we're kind of like the small kid on the playground, and we're easy to pick on in the ecosystem, right? We're not regulators or legislators. We're not multi-billion-dollar insurance carriers. When there's challenges, funding issues, we're an easy target. And so the industry is looking at brokers and saying, hey, you guys are part of the problem. You're too highly paid for what you're doing. And then the other component to it is agents are getting a bad reputation when it comes to fraud, waste, and abuse. And we all know that, very few of the agents out there are actually committing fraud, but there definitely are agents and agencies out there that are not acting in the best interest of the consumers and of the beneficiaries. So we all have to take a responsibility, and if you're not doing a good job as an agent and you're putting through poor enrollments and you're shortcutting stuff, ask yourself, am I doing a better job than a freaking AI tool is going to be, or am I going to be steamrolled and replaced here in the next year or two? So do a good job, be thorough, be empathetic, care about your clients, do a good job, or get out of the industry because the industry is going to replace you if you're not going to do it. So we have to do a good job collectively as a unit of putting our best foot forward and helping these beneficiaries. All right, moving on, just a couple of reminders, guys. $500 bonus for agents once they become active, 15 policies, any type of policies, Medicare, ACA, ancillaries, life, whatever. Reminder of our elite agent training. The next one's here in Utah about a month from now. And this is May 6th and 7th. These are free. If anybody knows anybody that wants to come to these trainings, let us know. We'll coordinate that with one of our team leads or agent success managers. Reminder for the trip for next year, guys, it's going to be top 10 agents. 750 point is the qualification threshold, and then it's going to just be the top 10 agents from there. I'm going to put out some more information and slide deck, but it's April 1st effectives through April 1st effectives of next year. And I'm going to do a better job of consistently putting out stuff all year long. But we're going to stay at a nice resort along 7 Mile Beach in Grand Cayman. So I promise you guys, these are definitely big picture things that you want to work on, that you want to have on your vision board or your goals to keep you motivated, right? We'll put some new posters up. If you have any questions about qualifications or anything like that, let me know. For right now, it's still going to be WellCare at 5 points, Humana at 2.5, Golden Rule and Allstate both at 2 points each. Shout outs, top agents of the quarter: Mark Warwick, Adriana, Brianna, Abe, Ethan McKinley, Zach Willis, Excel, Carolyn, Jose, Randy Warner, Jordan Ritter, Dave, Evelyn, Lorena, and Joannick. So shout out to you guys. Those are great numbers for a Q1. Overall top 3, Mark Warwick, Adriana, and Bree Camarillo. Good job, guys. Top WellCare sellers for March. We had Jordan Ritter, Sarah Larari, and Anna Zalea Silva. So we actually had, maybe I was wrong here, maybe Baque. I think I was wrong here. Baque and Lorena might have had more WellCares. But we've got Q1 King and Queens Court that we're going to be doing for agents, Utah, Florida, and if you're remote, we'll do something for you. And then we've got the Rockstar concerts that we're going to be awarding. The lineup is basically full here in Utah, and we're doing commensurate things in Florida as well. So I'll also do a better job of consistently putting out high-level incentive stuff in addition to your local teams, what incentives we're concurrently running. But any questions on concerts, trips, things like that, the high-level corporate incentives, those are through me. Some of your other team leaders are doing local incentives or virtual incentives as well. Looks like we had top rookie, I think, was Christine Mendoza of March. So shout out. I think it was her first full month on the phone. That's at least my report. So if anyone wants to challenge that, let me know. That's all. This is what we're focusing on, guys. WellCare, best effectuation. I'll have that report as well. But our effectuation rates were way up. So good job. Appreciate you guys doing a better job on that. WellCare top 3, most overall sales, and top rookie. So I'll be reaching out to people today. So appreciate you guys. Let's have a great week, and appreciate your time and attention. Thanks.